Hi everyone, welcome back. Today let's talk financial lessons or personal finance lessons that we can learn from businesses or organizations, right? We've been the second month of the year, and I think I'd like to believe that all, if not most of us at least, are still optimistic about what the year holds for us, what goals we still have, the things we are planning, So just to have something additional that we can be optimistic about, I thought let's talk personal finance lessons that we can learn from business, organization, corporate, whatever you want to call it, right? So excuse me because I will be looking down because I've made some notes of the pointers that I will share, right? So number one is budgeting and planning. All businesses plan ahead, right? So they know Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, what are our deliverables, what are we aiming for, what is our goals, right? So they also have a set aside budget for certain things. They know, for example, how much are we spending on maybe team building, how much are we spending on whatever. Maybe we've dealt with times where maybe you're suggesting something, you want to do something as a team, and it's like there is nothing in the budget. That's because it's planned for, right? So I think we all know, or we've all heard enough, that how the importance of budgeting, the importance of knowing where your money is going. So just take that lesson and learn. Plan ahead, right? Plan what you're going to do with what you receive. So as we try to get to a healthier net worth, that is something we can learn from the businesses and organizations out there. Number two is emergency fund. So with businesses, they do have a place where they know that if something happens, we've got a reserve in place. I think I've recently also kind of been privy to this where you see financials and they're like, this is what we have in our reserves. And because we have this in our reserves, we'll be able to mitigate most of the things that might happen within a structure or an organization, right? So the same can be said with the emergency fund. I think I've shared in my previous video an experience that I've had with an emergency fund, having something aside and being able to cover a little bit or all of something that comes up just like that. So we ourselves as well in our personal finance planning and journey have an emergency fund. Even if, I think I've shared again, like with my previous video, save as little as you can. So don't wait for that big bang amount that, no, if I have 1,000 a month, that's enough for me to save. Even the smallest amount makes a difference when an emergency comes along. So save those small amounts so that you have something in place to cover or mitigate anything that might happen. Like we understand, emergencies will not knock, they will not ask, they just happen. All right. So number three, investing for the future. If you know with businesses, for example, they even encourage all of us within organizations to think of the future. So retirement planning, that's why there's a portion set aside for retirement. Within the business itself, future planning, having goals that they have. For example, with Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 deliverables, right? I legit was sitting in a meeting where we were entering Q4, right? And already the business people are saying, actually we can what's the word, we don't even have to count Q4. It's like a non-event. So which means once you hit Q3, they've already planned ahead for the next year, because Q4 is like because it's very short, people are starting to take leave, there's this and this happening. Q4 to them is a non-event, which means they're already thinking ahead for the next quarter, for Q1 of the upcoming year. So we ourselves can do ourselves the same with our personal finances, right? Planning ahead, like, are you already planning for what's going to happen in December? Maybe you already know what goals you have because you've got certain goals that you've put aside. how are you covering those goals, or what are the steps, what are the processes in place for your finances that you need to put in order for you to get those goals done and dusted and out of the way. If they need finances, how are you planning for that future? That's a near future, right? How are you planning for it? Then there's debt management. That's number 4. Businesses and organizations have debt management. Again, it might fall in the same line as an emergency fund, right? They know and have a plan around how they're managing any debts or liabilities to the business. So we ourselves, how are you managing your debts? Do you have, for example, an avalanche method where you are doing small debts first, finishing them off and the next, or are you doing big debts, or are you doing debts that have a high interest first and moving to the lower interest? So what plans do you have in place to manage any debts or liabilities that you have on your finances, especially those obligatory debts that we cannot get away from, right? Then they have continuous learning. Businesses and organizations are constantly improving in terms of learning and development for their people within the organization. So we ourselves need to then invest in our education, because that it increases the chances of you being able to move up in terms of salary, move up in terms of the ladder, corporate ladder, and that in turn has a positive effect on your finances or any salary situations that need to happen within the organization. Or it increases, for example, if you go on and learn something around entrepreneurship, you've learned a new skill, you're able to have an additional income stream. So just think around, how can you upskill yourself or add to your education in order for you to then get to a place where you are financially secure, you are in a place that at least what you call it, that helps you increase your net worth through additional income streams, because you're constantly learning and upskilling. Another thing they have is insurance and risk management. So how are you managing your risks? You need to have insurance, whether it's life insurance, insurance for your assets, insurance for anything that you do own that you do not want to lose, or if it were lost, it would be a great loss for you. So companies themselves have some sort of insurance and risk management. So they are able to say, or for example, for staff, if a staff gets injured at work, right, they need to have processes in place in order to cover for that, right? So they do have insurances in place. If you carry a laptop to work, chances are if you lose it or anything happens to it, they're able to mitigate those things. So for your own personal finances as well, have insurance in place, have those mitigating factors in place in order to make sure, for example, with the car, if you happen to lose a car, you don't have insurance, maybe accident, theft, or whatever it is, you don't have insurance, guess what? It might financially impact you, because then you either gonna refinance a car or have to be able to come up with ways of getting yourself a car, because you need it probably for work and anything else, right? Life insurance, God forbid, but if anything happens to you, what happens to the people you leave behind? If you have dependents, if you've got people depending on your salary or finances, what happens to them if you don't have that insurance in place, right? So I think I've spoke about it on a previous video, how we need to insure ourselves in order not to leave our loved ones with debt, rather than being able to having that insurance or management in place that will be able to cover those debts that we might still have at the time of the unforeseen. Then there's retirement planning. I've already spoken about it in terms of investing for the future, but companies have plans in place to say, when people reach a certain age, they are covered because it forms part of their salary structure, right? So you yourself, retirement planning, if at the end of your work career, are you able to cover anything that needs to be covered in terms of finances, which will not digress you in terms of your net worth, but instead keep you at least at the same level, if not higher than what you have, right? So those are the things we need to have in place for our personal finances in order to stay in a place where we have a healthy net worth, right? And we're able to cover anything. Because for example, if you have a car, you go into retirement, it still needs the debts needs still need to be serviced. If you still have a home that's bonded at the time, you still need to service that. So you still need to service a lot of things. You still need to live, you still need to eat, you've got groceries and so forth. So planning ahead for that time where you're no longer working or no longer working and receiving an actual income. Maybe the income is lesser because obviously retirement, it differs for different people. But if you've planned retirement properly, I believe you can then get to a place where you cover everything that you have right now. So those are the things we need to do for our personal finances. Then they have negotiation skills. Corporates, businesses, and companies have great negotiation skills. That's why they are able to maybe get great deals or whatever else, right? So those are the skills that you need to have in order to negotiate for your salary or for any increases or for any performance conversations, right? So if you do that, you are able to negotiate for a better salary or negotiate for a better offer if you may be changing jobs and so forth. So you need those negotiation skills so that you are able to have the finances that you need for yourself, and also to cover everything that you would want to, whether it's emergencies and everything that we've spoken about. Then number 9 is performance matrix. So organizations, businesses, corporate, they have performance matrix. They are able to measure in terms of people, their KPIs. How are people performing? What are they doing? And they have a specific way of measuring how people are faring in terms of their day-to-day deliverables, right? With regards to the businesses themselves or the spaces that you probably find yourself within an organization, they have a way of measuring how they have done, whether it's on a financial scale. Have we gone up financially? Have we gone down? Have we gone as expected, or are we just stuck? So they have a way of measuring all of this. So we too, in our personal finances, need to have a way of measuring how we are doing, right? We need to have a way of measuring, am I sticking to my budget? What did I spend? Did I spend more? I think, as I've shared, I do have a journal that is out where you can plan your finances and actually track how you did. What did you expect to pay versus what you paid? So did you expect to pay 500 on your clothing account, and this month you maybe paid lesser, which is not the greatest of thing for your debt? And how are you measuring why, or what's happening for that to happen? So measure those things. Measure how you're doing in terms of your net worth, right? Net worth, we know, is our assets deduct our liabilities, and we get to see how much our net worth is. Are you constantly measuring that? Are you constantly measuring how you're doing in terms of your debt management? So we spoke about debt management. Do you have a way of tracking how you're doing? Are my debts increasing? Are they increasing? Sorry, are they decreasing? Am I doing good? Am I getting to a place where I'm getting to zero in terms of debt? So you need to have a way of measuring that. There's a saying that goes that you cannot improve what you do not measure. So you do have to measure in order to see where you need to improve and how. This will be helpful for your personal finances because you would know which areas in your financial journey, or which areas need attention in order for you to get to a healthy net worth. Then lastly, but not least, there is long-term vision. So with corporates and organizations, we've already covered that by the time Q3 ends, they're already looking ahead to the next year. So they have a way of future planning, right? Or they can say, for example, in 2024, by 2025 December, we want to see this and this growth, or this and this thing from a specific business area or from the whole organization. So they have that vision ahead of what they want, where they see themselves as an organization. So yourself as a person in your personal finance journey, where do you see yourself? Are you at a place where, in terms of your goals, are you at a place where you are living in a bigger house? Are you having a bigger car? Are you at a place where you just zero in debt, you've got no debt? Are you at a place where you've got wants that you're saving towards? Have you received that MacBook, for example? In my case, gosh, guys, I need a MacBook. I feel like I need it. Okay, I don't need it. It's a want, but for me, do I have that MacBook, and have I sourced it in a way that it would not negatively impact my finances? So some goals we have, some are wants, some are needs. Like, where are they? Or by this and this year I need to be debt free, or this and this year I want to maybe be living in my own place, by this and this. So there are so many things I can think of in terms of personal finances that speak to goals and things you want to achieve. What is that long-term vision for you, or where do you see yourself? A lot of places, or a lot of people have been doing their vision boards, because be optimistic, we're looking ahead. A lot of places are now having vision board gatherings as well, if you find yourself not being able to do your vision board by yourself. So what is that long-term goal? So just as organizations have that, we too need to have that. So those are the lessons that we can learn. So it's just 10 lessons. I hope you remember them. Number 1, budgeting and planning, emergency fund, invest for the future, debt management, continuous learning, insurance and risk management, retirement planning, negotiation skills, performance matrix, and last but not least, long-term vision. For our personal finances, these are the things that we need to think about and learn from the organizations we work for, or the organizations that we hope to work for, and the organizations that stand and keep growing and keep hiring more and more people, right? These are the things we need to learn from them, and I hope this will help you in your personal finance journey as you journey along this lovely year that we've started on. I hope this will help you just to, at the back of your head, continue to have these lessons, and I hope it will help enhance your your personal finances. I hope it will help you continue to get to that healthy net worth. So yeah, that's all I have for you. I hope this is helpful. Please do share with someone else. Of course, do like and subscribe, because you gotta grow. Do like and subscribe, but please, if you feel like it will help someone else, do share it on to someone else. Do share the link. I mean, it's free to do that, so it will not hurt your it will not hurt your personal finances or your net worth. Share so that someone else gets a glimpse of these lessons that we can learn from different businesses and organizations. I honestly hope, I really, really hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.